This could really help you improve the performance of your applications, avoiding the user from waiting for unnecessary re-renders or recalculations, and that has a big impact in the user experience. Welcome back to the channel, this time with a video about the useMemo hook, something that we haven't talked about yet. So let's quickly see how we can implement it and how it can help improve the performance of your app. So we have here a simple example of a product list with the filter by price, by rating, also an input to search the product by the name, and then we have a toggle here for the dark and light mode. As we can see here, every time we toggle between the light and the dark mode, we have here a heavy computation result console log. Just an example of how a heavy computation can look like, and just to show you how we can improve the performance of your app when we have a heavy computation in the middle between re-renderings. So we have here three states, one for the search input, another one for the sorting, another one for controlling the theme mode. So what we are doing here, we're just filtering by the search query, by the name, and we are also sorting if it's by price, and if it's by rating. So let's suppose that every time we update the list of products, every time we sort it, or every time we filter by name, we want to run a heavy query or a heavy computation or whatever. That's what I simulated here with this heavy computation. Let's suppose, for example, that we have a long list of products, and every time we filter, we want to categorize them, for example. So we have an extra step after we update, after we filter, or after we sort the array of products. We have an extra step triggered here in the use effect. So every time that this list of products gets updated, we will trigger this effect. And we have here in the middle a heavy computation. So that's what we have in this simple application. But there is another extra thing, there's another extra state, the dark mode or dark or light mode, that every time, as we know, every time that a state gets updated, all the variables are recalculated and the child components are re-rendered. So that's what is happening here. We are updating the mode, the dark light mode, and then the filtered and sorted products is getting recalculated. So every time we change the theme of the application, we are making here an unnecessary recalculation of this variable, because this variable doesn't rely on the dark light mode. So we shouldn't trigger that recalculation every time we change the dark mode. That's what the useMemo hook is for, to avoid making recalculations when it's not necessary. So we said that every time we filter or sort the products, we want to recategorize them. For example, we just have here a dummy function, but let's say that we want to recategorize them and it's a heavy computation because we have a large array. So what is happening now is that every time that we toggle the dark or light mode, we are triggering that action, and that's not what we want to do, because changing the theme of the application doesn't mean that we want to recategorize the products or that we are sorting the products. So we shouldn't trigger this action when we change the mode. So for that, we should grab this value in a useMemo hook. And this is what we have here. So don't forget to import here the useMemo hook from React. And then we have also another warning here that says React hook useMemo has missing dependencies, search query and sort by. We have this warning because if we don't add these values to the dependencies array, this value won't get updated every time we change, every time we filter, or every time we sort the array of products. Let me show you quickly what happens if we don't add the values here to the dependencies array. So let's go back to our application and let's clear the console. And once we have here the uploaded, let's sort by rating, for example. And we see here that nothing is happening. And why is that? That's because we haven't added our values to the dependencies array. So this dependencies array works the same as in the use effect hook. So we need to add the values that we want to trigger the update of this value. Those will be search query and sort by. And how do we know which values to add here? Because those are the dynamic values that are used inside the useMemo hook. So we have here, for example, the search query and also the sort by. So as we are using them inside the function of the useMemo hook, we know that we have to add them to the dependencies array. Otherwise, our value won't get updated properly when these values change. So let's save the file, let's go back to our application, and now we see that it automatically updated the value, and we can keep searching or filtering here. And it's normal that we have this heavy computation after filtering or sorting, because that's the behavior that we wanted. Let's suppose here that we are recategorizing a large array of products after sorting or after filtering. But now if we change the mode of the application, we don't have that effect triggered, and that's the behavior that we wanted to achieve. So let's recap. useMemo hook prevents unnecessary computations, improves performance for large datasets like the array of products that we saw in the example, reduces unnecessary re-renders in child components, because if we send that array of products as a param to a child component, when we prevent this array of products from being recalculated unnecessary, then we will prevent the child component from being re-rendered unnecessary. And finally, it avoids recomputing heavy operations in multi-state components. Those components are the components with several or more than one state. So this could really help you improve the performance of your applications, avoiding the user from waiting for unnecessary re-renders or recalculations, and that has a big impact in the user experience. And not only that, using the useMemo hook can also prevent memory leaks. And that's not a minor thing when we talk about performance. And that's just one way to boost the performance of your app. Check my use callback hook video to super boost the performance of your application. That's all I have for now. I hope you learned something and see you in the next one.